Let's get right into it. Number 10. The Mirror Monster Fight. You're walking past a shop window, catch a glimpse of yourself, and for a split second, you do a double take. Or maybe even flinch. Before your brain registers, it's just your own reflection. Or perhaps you've seen a bird repeatedly pecking at a window, or a dog barking furiously at its own image in a mirror. They truly believe they're confronting a rival, an intruder, or perhaps just a very rude lookalike. And guess what? We're not entirely immune to this primal confusion. Our ancient ancestors, much like many animals today, lived in a world where reflections weren't common. A sudden appearance of a second creature mimicking your every move would have been genuinely alarming, a territorial threat, a competitor, or something utterly uncanny. Our brains evolved to react swiftly to potential rivals. So, while we've now figured out what mirrors are, that initial, fleeting moment of confusion or alarm, that tiny jolt of "who's that guy?" is a direct echo of animal behavior. We've just gotten better at overriding the instinct to the bird. However, it's still stuck in the perpetual turf war with an imaginary rival. It's like your sophisticated human brain has a tiny, primordial security guard still working the night shift, occasionally mistaking your own face for an existential threat. Number 9. The herd mentality hustle. You're walking down a crowded street, and suddenly, for no discernible reason, everyone around you starts speeding up, or veering to one side. Do you stop and ask why? No, you probably just speed up too, or follow the flow, even if you have no idea where you're going. Congratulations, you're exhibiting classic herd mentality, a behavior we share with everything from wildebeest to schools of fish. For social animals, sticking with the group is a deeply ingrained survival strategy. If the lead wildebeest suddenly bolts, it's safer to run first and ask questions later, because the alternative might be becoming a lion's lunch. There's safety in numbers, and the collective response to perceived threat or opportunity increases individual survival chances. Your ancient ancestors relied on the wisdom of the crowd. If everyone else was heading for that berry bush, it was probably safe and fruitful. If everyone was fleeing that rustling in the tall grass, you'd better run. The problem in the modern world is that the threat might be nothing more than a passing fashion trend, a dubious investment craze, or a completely unverified rumor spreading like wildfire online. We follow the crowd, not because it's rational, but because our primal brains are screaming conformity equals safety. It's why popular opinions snowball, why fashion fads sweep through cities, and why you sometimes find yourself doing something utterly baffling. Just because everyone else is doing it, you're just a highly evolved wildebeest, following the herd to the nearest sale rack. Number 8. The grooming ritual gambit. Ever notice how satisfying it is to pick at a hangnail? Papa Zit don't lie. You do it. Or meticulously pluck an errant eyebrow hair. And what about the irresistible urge to scratch an itch, even if it makes it worse? This isn't just about hygiene, it's a deep-seated behavioral echo of animal grooming rituals. Animals, from primates picking fleas off each other to birds preening their feathers, engage in grooming for hygiene, parasite removal, and social bonding. It releases endorphins, making it feel good, and often serves to reinforce social hierarchies or alleviate stress. When you meticulously pluck your eyebrows, you're essentially performing a highly ritualized, slightly obsessive version of primate grooming. The release of discomfort from an itch, or the tactile satisfaction of removing something unclean from your body, taps into that ancient reward system. It's a self-soothing mechanism. The irony is, we often take it to extremes, creating more problems like irritated skin from overpicking in the name of looking presentable. So, while your primitive brain thinks you're just maintaining peak physical condition for mating and survival, you're actually just a highly sophisticated monkey, compulsively picking at yourself, sometimes for hours, all in the name of beauty. Number 7. The play dead panic button. You're in a truly awkward social situation, maybe cornered by that one relative who asks too many personal questions, or stuck in a painfully boring meeting. What's your brain's knee-jerk reaction? Often, it's to literally shut down. You might go quiet. Your eyes glaze over. You can't formulate a coherent sentence, and you just desperately want to disappear. This isn't just shyness, it's a subtle manifestation of the tonic immobility or playing dead response. A primal defense mechanism we share with everything from opossums to sharks, when faced with an inescapable threat that fight or flight isn't going to fix. Some animals instinctively go rigid, unresponsive, or even feign death. The hope that the predator will lose interest or assume you're already deceased and move on. For our ancient ancestors, this might have been a last-ditch effort against an overwhelming attacker. The problem is, in the modern world, the predator is often a socially uncomfortable situation, not a literal bear, and playing dead in a job interview or during a first date doesn't usually end well. Your brain, overwhelmed by stress or social anxiety, still occasionally hits that ancient freeze button, causing you to mentally check out and appear unresponsive, even when all you really want to do is engage. It's like your internal opossum is taking over, trying to de-escalate the social threat by simply ceasing to be interesting. Number 6. The territorial marking marvel. Ever feel an inexplicable urge to stake your claim on something? Maybe it's putting your feet up on the empty chair next to you on public transport, leaving your jacket on a seat in a crowded cafe even when you leave for a moment, or getting disproportionately annoyed when someone takes your spot at the office. This is your inner animal subtly engaging in territorial marking, a behavior deeply ingrained in countless species, from dogs urinating on lampposts to birds singing to define their boundaries. For animals, claiming territory is vital for survival. It's about securing resources, mating opportunities, and a safe space. Our ancient ancestors also relied on clear territorial boundaries. While we've thankfully evolved past scent marking our cubicles, the psychological drive remains. We use subtle cues to signal ownership and establish our personal space. That angry glare you give someone who sits too close to you on a park bench. That's your primate brain saying, "Back off. This is my sunbeam." The elaborate way you arrange your desk, often with personal items, isn't just about aesthetics. It's a non-verbal declaration of, "This is my space." Trespass at your own risk. It's a carryover from a time when clear boundaries meant fewer fights and better survival odds. So, the next time you get irrationally irritated about someone encroaching on your personal bubble, just remember, your inner alpha chimpanzee is probably having a minor meltdown. Number 5. The contagious yawn conundrum. Someone yawns, you yawn. Someone else yawns, you yawn again. It's a universal phenomenon that transcends cultures, often baffling scientists. Why is yawning so incredibly contagious? Almost like a mental virus. While its exact purpose is still debated, one leading theory suggests it's a form of ancient social synchronization, a carryover from our highly social, pack-living ancestors. For animals living in groups, coordinated behavior can be crucial for survival. A collective yawn might have served as a subtle, unconscious signal within a group, perhaps indicating a shift in activity level, a call for a period of rest, or even a low-level warning of a change in environmental conditions. It's a form of empathetic communication, bridging the gap between individuals. When you see someone yawn, your brain's mirror neurons fire, essentially simulating that action in your own mind, leading to an involuntary physical response. It's a sign of empathy and social bonding. You're literally feeling what they're feeling, even if it's just a mild urge to oxygenate your brain. The irony is, in modern human society, a contagious yawn in a meeting often just signals boredom and a desperate need for coffee, rather than a profound empathetic connection. Your brain, however, is still wired for ancient group harmony, making you unwittingly participate in a global symphony of collective, slightly awkward, oral stretching. Number 4. The fluff and puff display. Ever found yourself in an argument, perhaps at work or with a particularly annoying relative, and you subtly adjust your posture? You might stand a little taller, puff out your chest a tiny bit, or even put your hands on your hips, trying to project an air of dominance or unshakable confidence. You're not trying to inflate yourself with helium. But you are engaging in a very human version of an ancient animal behavior, the threat display or dominance ritual, from a cat arching its back and puffing up its fur, to a gorilla beating its chest, to a bird fanning its tail feathers. Animals across the kingdom use these exaggerated physical postures to appear larger, more powerful, and more intimidating to rivals, often as a way to avoid actual physical confrontation. For our ancestors, displaying physical prowess or confidence could deter a potential challenger without having to resort to a costly and dangerous fight. It was a bluff, a non-verbal way of saying, "You do not want to mess with me." The problem is, while it worked beautifully on the savannah to size up a competitor, in a modern office meeting, subtly puffing out your chest might just make you look like you're trying to impress someone with your new gym routine. It's a subconscious, almost involuntary attempt to leverage primal signals of power. Even when the threat is just a dissenting opinion on a spreadsheet, your brain is still trying to look big and scary, like a pufferfish, even though your only weapon is a PowerPoint presentation. Number 3, the pecking order peril. You walk into a new social group, a new job, or even a new online forum, and almost instinctively, you start to figure out who's in charge, who's respected, and who's, well, perhaps a bit of an outsider. And then, often subconsciously, you adjust your own behavior based on where you perceive yourself to fit in this unspoken hierarchy. This is the pecking order at play, a term borrowed directly from chickens but observed throughout the animal kingdom. Wolves have alpha males and females, chimpanzees have complex dominance structures, and even ant colonies have queens. Establishing a social hierarchy reduces internal conflict within the group, as everyone generally knows their place. It was crucial for our ancestors to understand the social ladder to avoid unnecessary fights and to know whose lead to follow, whose opinions mattered most, and how to navigate group dynamics for survival. But in modern society, this ancient drive to establish and adhere to a pecking order can lead to all sorts of bizarre and sometimes harmful behaviors. It fuels office politics, drives celebrity obsession, contributes to social anxiety, and can even lead to bullying or passive-aggressive maneuvering. We constantly compare ourselves, strive for status symbols, and subtly or not so subtly try to assert our perceived position within various social groups. Your brain is still desperate to figure out who the alpha is and where you stand, even when the only thing at stake is who gets to choose the music at the office party. It's like your internal social GPS is still trying to map out the tribal hierarchy of the savannah, resulting in you feeling weirdly compelled to impress your new boss with your extensive knowledge of stapler brands. Number 2, the fear of the dark freeze. You're a grown adult. You pay taxes, you drive a car, you can assemble IKEA furniture mostly. Yet, when the lights go out, or you find yourself in a truly pitch black environment, does a tiny primal shiver run down your spine? Does your imagination suddenly populate the shadows with indistinct, lurking figures? That, my friend, is a whisper from our deep evolutionary past. The fear of the dark, or enwactophobia. It's not just a childhood phobia, it's a hardwired survival instinct we share with countless nocturnal prey animals. For most of Earth's history, and certainly for our ancient ancestors, nightfall meant increased danger. Predators, many of whom had superior night vision, roamed freely. Humans, with our relatively poor night sight, were vulnerable. The darkness concealed threats, snakes, lions, rival tribes that could not be seen, only heard or imagined. So, an innate wariness, a heightened state of vigilance, and a tendency to interpret ambiguous shadows as potential threats was a massive survival advantage. Those who were blithely unconcerned by the dark probably didn't live long enough to pass on their genes. In the modern world, where the greatest danger in the dark is usually stubbing your toe on a rogue slipper, this ancient fear can still manifest as irrational anxiety, difficulty sleeping without a nightlight, or a sudden urge to sprint up the stairs after turning off the basement lights. Your brain is still screaming predator, even when the only thing lurking is your cat, judging you from the shadows. Number 1, the contagious itch calamity. You're watching a video, or reading an article, or maybe someone just mentioned the word lice, and suddenly, you feel an uncontrollable, phantom itch on your scalp. You start scratching, even though you know, rationally, there's nothing there. This isn't just your imagination playing tricks, it's a fascinating and incredibly annoying example of a primal, contagious behavior, the contagious itch. We share this bizarre phenomenon with chimpanzees, monkeys, and even mice. Why does an itch spread like wildfire through a group? From an evolutionary perspective, it makes perfect sense. In social animals, parasites like fleas or ticks are a shared threat. If one member of the group starts scratching furiously, it's a strong signal that there might be parasites present, prompting others to start grooming themselves preventatively. It's a collective defense mechanism, a non-verbal alarm system designed to get everyone to check for potential infestations. Your brain, observing the act of scratching, instinctively mimics it, triggering the same neural pathways that produce the sensation of itching. It's a highly empathetic, albeit irritating, response. In the modern world, where most of us are hopefully free of fleas, this ancient instinct just makes us look a little bit unhinged. You're sitting in a perfectly clean room, minding your own business, and the mere suggestion of an itch sends your hand flying to your head. It's a testament to how deeply ingrained these social survival mechanisms are, even when the actual threat has been eradicated by modern hygiene. So, the next time you find yourself scratching your head vigorously after seeing someone else do it, just remember, your brain is doing its part to protect the tribe from invisible, hypothetical lice. It's like your internal alarm system is still screaming parasites, even though the last time you saw a flea was on a nature documentary. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.